Hi, Chav Weather here with a video looking at a tornado and heavy hail hitting Yanti in Shandong province, China. strength of the tornado has been reported as EF1. At the same time as the tornado hitting, a large unprecedented hailstorm also hit the area, lasting for around 10 minutes. Serious damage was caused by this weather event, with roofs taken off buildings and crops being destroyed. The cause of this weather event has not yet been recorded. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with another video soon.
ABC Action News reporter Eric Waxler talked to an expert to find out how it might affect your beach plans.
People have reported dead fish here on Madeira Beach this week, but today we haven't seen any. And it's a beautiful sunny day with people enjoying their time on the sand and in the water. But the algae bloom does continue to cover large areas here in Pinellas County, Manatee County around Anna Maria Island, and around Tampa Bay. Clearwater Marine Aquarium President Dr. James Powell continues to watch the red tide closely.
It's not particularly that unusual this time of year, but it certainly looks like we could potentially be in for another spike of it.
Dr. Powell says red tide hanging around is related to a perfect storm of certain conditions.
That there's enough nutrients in the water to feed the red tide, and as well that the currents and winds are blowing it inshore. And then once it gets inshore, then you've got runoff and you've got, other nutrients that feed it.
Dr. Powell says there's no reason to stay away from the beach this weekend unless you're especially sensitive to the respiratory irritation that red tide can sometimes cause. On Madeira Beach, Eric Waxler,
condominiums in South Fort Myers are forced to leave their homes after a sinkhole formed just outside one of the building's driveways. Quiet right now, but this morning it was a different scene. People living in Harbor Isle Yacht and Racquet Club finally back into their condos this afternoon. And residents there that were evacuated have been that way since about 8 o'clock this morning. One resident saying a car backed into the hole, but says that the driver is actually okay. Fox 4's Titila Ayo Okua gives us a look.
People living in Harbor Isle's Yacht and Racquet Club were allowed back into their condos this afternoon. Residents tell me they were evacuated around 8 o'clock this morning when this sinkhole opened up. One resident says a car backed into the hole, but she's told the driver is okay.
The area underneath the part of the driveway over there collapsed. Unfortunately, a car was backing out at the time, and so the car went into the hole. I believe I've been told it's total, but I'm not sure on that. And then obviously, so we don't have access to the garages. We've not had water. Everybody had to be evacuated, like I said. No elevators, no water. The water just came back on.
Residents tell me everyone is safely back in their homes, and they were glad no one was seriously hurt.
Struck in Santa Rosa.
Yeah, let's get right to Mary Lee with the latest. Mary.
Yeah, if you live in the North Bay, you might have felt that shaking this morning with this earthquake. It's a magnitude 3.4 earthquake. It happened at 5:45 a.m. just 2 miles southeast of Santa Rosa. We are getting reports of people feeling it from not just Santa Rosa, but Windsor as well as for Rohnert Park. So let's give you a closer look at this earthquake. Again, a magnitude 3.4 earthquake this morning. So I might have woken you up as we start off our day. Boy, just that jolt this morning. Okay, let's get
Southern Nevada water officials continuing to keep close tabs on a couple of large algae blooms. So are there anything that we should be worried about, or especially at a time when, of course, our lake levels are just pretty low there?
News 3's Steve Wolford joins us live at the Southern Nevada Water Authority headquarters with a closer look.
Well, that's right. This is kind of a tale of two lakes, and we'll sort of lay it out for you with the good news and the bad news. So let's start with the bad news. These particular algae blooms are caused by cyanobacteria, and they are toxic. Cyanobacteria is potentially harmful to humans. It can be ingested or absorbed through the skin. These are some of the pictures posted on the Lake Mead National Recreation Area Facebook page, and these kinds of algae blooms occur in the summer. Now, the good news. This has all been happening around Nelson Landing and Cottonwood Cove and Lake Mojave, not Lake Mead, which is our main water source. I spoke earlier today with Bronson Mack with the Southern Nevada Water Authority about what's being done to monitor the water coming from Lake Mead.
Well, we can see algae blooms occur from time to time in Lake Mead or Lake Mojave. Now, the Water Authority also samples water from Lake Mead at our intakes where the water comes into the treatment plant. We also sample and test water as it leaves our treatment plant. So we've got double confirmation that our water meets or surpasses drinking water standards, and this algae is not posing any kind of a risk.
Well, Max says these algae blooms are, if nothing else, a recreational hazard. If you're out boating or swimming, you should avoid them. I also spoke with the Park Service at Lake Mead earlier today about specifically what they're doing to monitor these kinds of things. We'll have more on that coming up on News 3 Live at 6. But again, to be clear, we're talking about algae blooms on Lake Mojave, Lake Mead. As far as the water samples go, other than the water levels, Lake Mead is in good shape.
The owner of Trailways Residential and Behavioral Health is looking to open a new Las Vegas facility that will benefit the community in what they call a very positive way. And Craig Hancock joins us live to talk all about it. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're there on the other side. There you are. Alrighty, so we were talking a little bit about this. This is a one-stop shop to really trying to improve the lives of people who need a little extra help, if you will. Tell us more about what you do.
Well, my name is Craig Hancock, and I'm the owner of Trailways Behavioral Health, and it's a social service company that also has a housing component where we help individuals trying to get back on their feet and get back to life, living a good quality of life.
Alrighty, and how do you plan to help them do that?
Well, generally what happens is that we have a network of professionals that we work with. We also have a housing residence. It's 7,000 square feet.
New fears about a toxic threat after that volcano eruption on a popular island. James Longman joined us with the latest on the new danger. And James, authorities are warning people to stay inside.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. Good morning. The intensity of this eruption just has not let up. This volcano still spewing lava and ash. And now a new danger is descending on the people of La Palma, toxic gas. This morning, as lava pours across Spain's La Palma Island and into the sea, toxic gas now threatens this popular vacation destination. As you can see here, when the red-hot magma reaches the cooler water, it causes these massive clouds of white steam to billow into the sky. In those clouds of steam, toxic chemicals, which can trigger acid rain, and they irritate the skin and eyes. Authorities are now advising masks be worn in the 2-mile exclusion zone. Island authorities are concerned about air quality, and they're urging residents to seal their doors and windows with tape and wet towels. The volcano erupted 11 days ago and prompted thousands to evacuate as the lava threatened their homes. And this morning, over 740 buildings have now been destroyed and more than 1 square mile has turned to ash. Just days ago, we witnessed the tremendous power of this volcano.
The thing that really strikes you is the noise. Just listen to that.
And now explosions still rock the island. Residents unsure if more cracks in the earth will open up and release more dangerous magma. Now that vapor that you saw rising there has hydrochloric acid in it. Clearly not something anybody wants to inhale. Once the danger has subsided, well, the rebuild will begin. And all this has caused something like $500 million worth of damage. Michael?
All right, James, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Cases of West Nile virus continue to rise in Maricopa County. We are approaching 140 cases this year, compared to just 3 cases in all of last year. And it's been deadly this year. 7 people in the county have died so far. Spencer Blake spent the afternoon in a Gilbert neighborhood, which has seen quite a few mosquitoes this year. What'd you find out there today, Spencer?
So, Jared, the case counts actually generally follow a pattern year to year. And while the monsoon rainfall definitely plays a role in that, it's not the only factor. With more than 40 times as many West Nile cases as last year, Maricopa County Environmental Services Department has been fogging all over the place.
I've got sweet blood. Mosquitoes like my blood, so I'm always putting on repellent.
They give you bumps.
Each red square mile on the map has been fogged. There are several hot spots in far north Phoenix, but in the East Valley, crews have fogged the area around the Gilbert Riparian Preserve at Guadalupe and Greenfield 13 times since April.
I see fish.
Jen Schaefer lives nearby and has been worried about the West Nile case numbers.
13 times is a lot of times, which then this tells me that there's a huge problem in this area.
Yeah, I've been here.
Johnny Delaunay with Environmental Services says West Nile numbers historically jump up and down about every other year, which you can see over the past decade. It has to do with herd immunity among the birds that mosquitoes bite.
The birds that got the virus this year, that's been a very active year where the virus has been highly present here in the community. Next year, those old birds will be immune.
The county will fog when there's a positive West Nile test in a mosquito trap, but they'll also come out if there are more than 300 mosquitoes in one trap, even if they don't carry the virus.
Those are the ones that you see out during the day, that people notice the most, they're in large numbers, and that are a big nuisance and would generate the most calls.
Schaefer's daughter is happy to learn the county is going after the mosquitoes almost every night.
Because they go away and they die.
If history's an indicator, hopefully 2022 won't be so bad when it comes to bites. Now, mosquitoes don't usually go dormant until the end of October, maybe the end of November, so we've still got several weeks left of mosquito season. By the way, if you're curious about your neighborhood, how many times it's been fogged, or if it's on the schedule, we have links to both of those things at our website, azfamily.com. Live in Gilbert, I'm Spencer Blake.
In the East Bay, and that is because another small earthquake has hit near San Leandro. Magnitude 3.4, hit about 12:30 this afternoon. Epicenter 2 miles north of the city, very close to Bishop O'Dowd High School. USGS also reported a quake in that exact spot about 7:15 last night. It was originally measured as a 3.2, eventually downgraded to a 3.0. There have been no reports of injuries or damage. Meteorologist Rob Maeda joining us now, dig a little deeper into all of this. And Rob, this is a fault line. Does this mean that there are going to be more and more earthquakes? Is it a forecast of earthquakes?
Yeah, we're not expecting necessarily that these are foresharks, but it is occurring on an area in the Central Bay right near the Hayward Fault where it certainly gets our attention. You can see the shaking intensity as we reported weak to light, but occurring in the Central Bay. It has a bit of a higher impact. Western Contra Costa County, western Alameda County, and back down to the peninsula, briefly feeling this 3.4 earthquake right there. And just within the last 24 hours, again, there was that 3.0 occurring just to the south. West here of 580, not far from that Oakland Zoo turnoff. And that red line you see there is, of course, the Hayward Faults. One of the major fault systems that is we consider overdue for a larger earthquake, the last one occurring in 1868. It's a reminder, even if these smaller earthquakes, to keep your quake kit updated and at the ready. Again, these earthquakes 3.4, 3.0, not likely to cause any issues. It will get your attention, and yet another reminder, especially living in the Bay Area and California, to be quake ready at any given time. We'll watch to see if there are any more of these smaller quakes occurring near the Hayward Fault over the next 24 hours. Terry, back to you.
Good heads up,
Be
Rob.
careful
Thanks a lot.
in and around the St. Johns River and its creeks. That warning from the state with an updated health alert.
Additional sites along the river have been tagged as places where toxic blue-green algae has been collecting. Joy is joining us now. Enjoy this algae outbreak. It's pretty widespread.
Yeah, you might be able to see flecks of that algae here in this video. The St. Johns Riverkeeper tells us they're actually getting reports of the green slime from Palatka all the way to the mouth of the St. Johns River in Mayport. Blue-green algae looks nasty, it stinks, and it's dangerous. A bacteria that's toxic to humans and animals. These photos are from the St. Johns Riverkeeper, Lisa Reineman.
We've had a lot of rain over the last month, and so there's been a lot of pollution washing into the river. And with lots of sunlight as well as warmer conditions, that's when everything is right for an outbreak like we're seeing now.
Based on water samples taken over the weekend from September 23rd to the 27th, the Florida Health Department is warning everyone to be careful in and around the St. Johns River, and specifically near a handful of boat ramps, lakes, and creeks fed by the river. What's different about this algae outbreak?
And so while we're not seeing a scum on the surface throughout the county, if you look in the water, you can see green particles. They're bright green, and those can be very toxic.
If you or your pet are directly exposed to blue-green algae, you could experience anything from flu-like symptoms and gastrointestinal illness to seizures, liver failure, even respiratory arrest. The warning? Don't drink, swim, or even use personal watercraft in waters where there's a visible bloom.
If you're out boating in the water, that your boat wake can actually aerosol the toxins, and so you don't want to breathe them in.
for a list of do's and don'ts when dealing with blue-green algae and a list of those specific areas in your neighborhood where the blue-green algae is especially pertinent. You can look for this article on our website, newsforjax.com.
Well, protecting paradise is our commitment to tell the stories of our local environment, good and not so good. Take a look at this Cape Coral Canal off of Country Club. Yuck, right? People in the area telling us what's showing up on the surface here doesn't smell, but it's thick, as you can see. Just like we do, they have questions as to just what this is.
That's killing our community. Boats, this is what, water, canals, hello? It's all part of the industry here, and it's going down the tubes. They need to do something. I say, let it go south.
That resident concerned, of course, that this is runoff. Now, at this time, we are working to get some answers on what this actually could be. We've actually reached out to experts at Florida Gulf Coast University, and we're going to let you know what they say.
Did you feel it? Probably in the North Bay you did. There was an earthquake pretty close to Santa Rosa. It was only like less than 2 miles away.
Yeah, 3.4 in magnitude. Looks like it struck right along the Rogers Creek fault line, which kind of runs right past the city of Santa Rosa. As for who felt it, not many reports right now. We've got one report showing it, though, just as a light shaking in the area. So typically we wouldn't expect anything to be, well, wouldn't expect any damage from an earthquake like that, where it's just light shaking.
But we'd expect as people wake up and kind of go, was that a dream?
Yeah.
Did the bed really shake a little? Then they tune on the TV. Then they start saying, yeah, I kind of felt it, or my cat went wild. Those kinds of stories we love. We love talking about, especially we like to talk about it when it's a small one and it doesn't hurt anything and it doesn't cause any damage, but it's just one of those wake-up calls.
And we'll obviously keep an eye on the earthquake map here, see if anything else pops up. Sometimes this is the beginning of maybe a little swarm of small earthquakes. We'll see if that's the case this morning, but for now it's just the one. Again, a 3.4, and so far the USGS only has one person reporting that they felt it, but again called it light.
This breaking news from Louisiana. There are reports 6 contract employees were hurt during a explosion at a chemical plant. This happened at Westlake Chemicals Petro Complex 2 unit. It's in the city of Sulphur, which is 15 minutes or so outside
Fort
of
Myers
Lake
area are forced to leave their homes after a sinkhole formed just outside one of the building's driveways. Take a look at this. It happened earlier today at Harbor Isle Yacht and Racket Club. The Iona-McGregor Fire District says a broken fire water line caused the sinkhole to form, and this parked car unfortunately caught in the middle of it, partially submerged. People living in the condos on both sides of this hole had to leave. They were placed in a Lee Trans bus for some shelter. One of the condo's residents has since been allowed to re-enter their building. A hydrogeologist at Florida Gulf Coast University says, though, the water leak should serve as a reminder that we need to be monitoring our buildings for other potential problems.
Given what just happened in Miami, we really need to work on these sort of early detection techniques in order to figure out if we have sinking and do something about it before something really bad happens.
That is Dr. Rotz, and she says early detection can be as simple as checking for spikes in a building's water bill. She says depending on the size of the leak, a sinkhole could be created in just 1 or 2 days.
Virus is prompting an alert tonight from local health officials, and it has nothing to do with the coronavirus. The St. Louis County Health Department is reporting 2 cases of the West Nile virus. Both patients were hospitalized but have since been released. Health officials could not offer any more details on the 2 cases. West Nile is spread through bites from infected mosquitoes. The county has had just 11 confirmed cases
Heavy rain and
since
flash
2011.
flooding has lashed parts of Melbourne's north. Emergency crews had to free passengers trapped on a train that became stuck in floodwater.
Neighbourhood streets and parkland turned into a raging river.
Oh dear, look at Bobo's house. I wonder if they need some help.
Pascoe was hit with flash flooding late yesterday. Some ignored warnings.
Oh my God.
While SES crews worked to free trapped passengers on a train as water quickly flooded the tracks. Today, families and their 4-legged friends explored the damage.
How would you describe it?
A lot of water. The bench was covered with water and it was going around all the trees really fast.
It was Pretty exciting, I guess. I was looking out the front window of our house and you could see when the creek broke its banks and it came down in like a wave down the footpath.
We've seen this like fill up before and it becomes a big puddle, but never quite to that extent. That was the worst I've seen.
Although it might not look like much now, up to 24 millimetres of rainfall hit parts of Melbourne's inner north overnight. 24 hours ago, this park and road were underwater.
Oh, we don't get much entertainment, so this is really good.
𝐃𝐎𝐍, 7 News.
Outbreak spread to 29 states, including Massachusetts, where 10 people reported getting sick. The issue is the CDC says it has not yet been determined what caused the outbreak. It says a recent study of food samples tested at restaurants identified possible culprits. Right now, it's looking into specifically at takeout condiment cups with cilantro and lime. The CDC says it has not yet determined which item in the cup is the culprit, but right now it's working to narrow it down, and so far no recall has been issued. 279 people nationwide reported getting sick, and 26 people had to go to the hospital. Katie Johnston for CBSN, Boston.
We are lucky to have Cyrus Jonathan on the phone right now. Cyrus, the spokesperson for Hawaii County. Cyrus, tell us what is going on over there with the latest Kilauea eruption.
Well, we just got informed recently from HVO, the Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory, that there's been a small summit swarm in Halemaumau crater, a small eruption that is changing the alert level at the park to orange. So, it's not a red. It's still something that is what they're calling a passive eruption, and that it's just on alert to maintain and to watch. So at this time, no threat to the public that we're aware of other outside of gases. And so that's our main concern right now.
Sure. I did just want to update things because this is changing literally by the minute. The Volcano Observatory did elevate it moments ago to the red warning level from that orange watch. Again, this was a hop, skip, and a jump because it all happened within minutes of each other. According to the Volcano Observatory, the volcano is erupting. But again, as you say, Cyrus, it is there in the crater. Best place for it to happen, right? As compared to the breakouts that was down lower and in the other areas that had caused the destruction in residential areas before, right? Why is this better, so to speak, if you have to pick your eruption, to have it happen there right at the caldera?
Well, from what we understand, the national park is well equipped to handle eruptions. They've been handling them for many, many years. Folks can stay a safe distance away from where the actual lava is spewing out. There are safe observation points. And when the gases get too big, they're able to close down the park so folks and move people out of the park if they have to. So all of the safety measures that the park has in place are certainly there to protect the public, and they're able to do that very quickly. Whereas if it's a residential area, you have to move people out of their homes. You have to move, street people out there moving, setting up all the evacuation routes and all that kind of stuff. So I think overall it's good that it's there, but the fact that they raised it to red is something that we're going to be watching and paying a lot of attention to moving forward.
Absolutely, Cyrus. And I just want to note that this is not the same type of situation that we saw in 2018 where Halemaumau inflated, then deflated, and went and opened up all those fissures. It is contained to Halemaumau. And even afterwards, I believe it was in 2020 that Halemaumau did fill up. Remember when it filled up and there was a lot of lava spewing, and then all of a sudden it stopped and it dropped. It's good that this is here because another area that has active magma movement is Mauna Loa. And
the Florida Health Department is warning about blue-green algae blooms in Duval County. That algae has been found at 3 sites along the St. Johns River and 1 in Pottsburg Creek. Do not go in the water if you see this stuff, and make sure if you get it on you to really wash your skin and your clothes with soap.
Our traps that we bring in on a weekly basis are showing lots of mosquitoes that are carrying West Nile virus.
West Nile virus isn't just in the traps anymore. The first person has caught the virus this season in Collier County. West Nile is nothing new, but it can be dangerous.
NBC2's Sarah Metz is walking us through what you can do right now to stop the virus from spreading.
They are being found everywhere,
which makes it difficult to track down exactly where this Collier County resident could have contracted the virus.
So it's not just in one specific area, it truly is county-wide.
A county-wide warning.
Our traps that we bring in on a weekly basis are showing lots of mosquitoes that are carrying West Nile virus.
In 2020, Collier Mosquito Control saw a pattern of hotspots throughout the county, but it's different this year.
This year we're seeing more of it in the more remote areas, including towns. So that's what's got us a bit concerned.
They've ramped up spraying.
In response to that, we've been aggressively treating for the mosquitoes,
attacking them at all stages of life.
What we've been doing is we've been going out to treat both larval mosquitoes, that's the juvenile stage of the mosquito in water, and adult mosquitoes.
If you see any of these in water around your home, be sure to dump them out, because in 5 to 7 days, they'll become these, which can carry West Nile.
The specific mosquito that carries West Nile virus is a Culex mosquito. That mosquito gets West Nile virus after it bites an infected bird.
Someone might not show any symptoms of West Nile virus. That is why Mosquito Control asks you to be proactive.
The best thing that residents can do to protect themselves is follow the 5 Ds.
Defend.
Dump out any water that could be in containers.
Dress in long sleeves and pants.
Avoiding dusk and dawn, that is when mosquitoes are most active.
If you suspect you have West Nile, officials urge you to visit a doctor for treatment or call 911. Reporting in Collier County, Sarah Metz.
People in St. Louis County test positive for the West Nile virus. They are the first 2 human cases recorded in the county this year. Both patients have been treated and released from the hospital. There have been 11 confirmed human West Nile cases in the county since
packed a punch. In fact, lightning is to blame for this house fire in the Rose Creek neighborhood this morning. You're looking at brand new video showing firsthand what firefighters were up against. Chopper 4 was also overhead moments later, and we know a person inside the home was treated for possible smoke inhalation. As for the home, firefighters contained most of the damage to the roof and the second floor, close to where that lightning
bolt hit. But the wet roads, not the only dangerous ripple effect of the rain. Another is mosquitoes carrying West Nile. The puddles of water perfect for the insects to breed and spread that dangerous virus. And this year, West Nile has already been found in more valley mosquitoes than the past 3 years combined. Our Adam Wallace has been reporting on the virus's devastating toll here in our state and joins us now with more on how to keep the bites and the virus from getting to you. Adam?
Yeah, Zach, I think we can all agree that a rainy day and a rainy monsoon has been great, but it also, we don't want you to tell you to avoid going outside and enjoying it, but it also has created a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So a couple quick ways that you can keep mosquitoes away, wearing long sleeves or even spraying some bug spray, but also get ahead of the game and go around your house and find anywhere where there may be some sitting water. Mosquitoes can lay dozens of eggs in a very small amount of water. So go around your house, find those areas and clean them out. And if you're thinking, mosquitoes don't really bite me, well, you're not alone.
He would sit there in the chair and say, mosquitoes just don't bite me. And
nothing was further from the truth.
Talking about their grandpa, John Warren, one of 7 people in Maricopa County who have died of West Nile virus.
Basically almost exactly 2 weeks from the beginning to the absolute end.
A similar timetable for Donald Streets, who died of West Nile 9 days ago.
This was a 2-week crash, and it was a surprise. I mean, the family's all still in shock. I'm in shock.
In 2021, there have been 7 West Nile deaths in Maricopa County, with 138 cases. A sharp spike from 2020, when there were only 3 cases and 1 death. The number of mosquitoes testing positive for West Nile has also jumped dramatically from last year. 660 mosquitoes have tested positive this year, compared to just 10 last year and 417 in 2019.
Mosquitoes tend to breed in pools of standing water.
Which is why the best way to protect yourself is dump standing water in pots, buckets, or even kids' toys. Clean out gutters and fix leaky faucets.
Watch out for dawn and dusk and nighttime. That's when mosquitoes tend to be the most active, because during the day, they get a little bit dehydrated.
Luckily, West Nile doesn't show up in most people.
The majority of people won't actually have any symptoms, about 80% of people. Now, 20% of people will have mild symptoms that they recover from, and less than 1% of people will end up getting more severe symptoms.
Symptoms of West Nile virus usually show anywhere from between 3 days to 2 weeks after contracting it, and the symptoms range from a fever and dizziness to loss of sight and even paralysis. And of course, the elderly are at a higher risk.
Breaking news we're following out of Dallas. The Dallas Fire Rescue Department is working an apartment fire near Paul Quinn College. That's in southeast Dallas. Dallas police confirm there was a natural gas explosion around 10:30 this morning. You can see by the damage there that part of the building has collapsed and windows in the building next door are blown out. No injuries have been confirmed at this point, but multiple ambulances have been called to the scene.
If you've spent a spring, summer, or fall outdoors in Oklahoma, you've likely dealt with the itchy bites of mosquitoes. But there are symptoms of the West Nile virus you need to be watching out for.
You know, most people get very mild symptoms, but some people will get what we call encephalitis, which is mental status changes and extremely sore neck, fever, they can have hemorrhaging, and it can really affect any system in your body.
Dr. Melinda Kale with Primary Health Partners in Edmond says the effects can range from mild symptoms to lifelong impacts, or even, sadly, death.
Treatment is mostly supportive, meaning we just give people fluids and pain management and essentially keep them alive until their body can heal itself.
According to the CDC, around 1 in 5 people infected with West Nile virus develop symptoms. Only about 1 in 150 develop a serious or fatal infection. While Paula Stearman's death occurred in Shawnee, in Pottawatomie County, News 4 has recently reported that West Nile virus has been detected in Oklahoma County.
We usually test mosquitoes from early May to about the first hard freeze, which is, usually around the second or third week of October.
Trey Williams with the Oklahoma City County Health Department says the testing of mosquitoes provides a warning that it's present in the county. The testing in humans can help identify the virus that's commonly mistaken for another.
If a person is tested for West Nile, then that's usually how we kind of find out about it. But it being typical flu-like symptoms can be a little tricky.
Lauren Daniels, Oklahoma's News 4.
And you'll want to remember the 4 Ds: drain standing water, use repellent that contains DEET, stay inside at dusk and dawn, and dress in long sleeves and pants.
students.
Yeah, starting in November, Phoenix Union High School will require the vaccine or weekly tests to participate in sports or other after-school activities. Patrick Hayes breaks down what you need to know.
Since going back to school, Phoenix Union High School has been urging students to get vaccinated, even offering gift cards as an incentive.
It's that simple. Protect yourself, your family, and the community.
But soon, students who play sports or other extracurricular activities will have to get the vaccine or commit to weekly testing.
Those new rules take effect November 1st, but if a student athlete or staff member gets vaccinated after that, they don't have to continue getting tested.
Under the new rules, coaches, staff, volunteers, and students will have to show their vaccine card or take a test.
Phoenix Union serves 32 zip codes. Our zip codes are still in the red.
Superintendent Chad Geston says about 2/3 of staff and 1/3 of students are vaccinated.
And in particular with sports, of course, in order to guarantee no spread, we'd love to see 100%. But we also know that there are individuals that would prefer to test.
Earlier this week, Arizona Superintendent Kathy Hoffman told ABC 15 she would support vaccine mandates.
I would. I think just like for the other types of illnesses, you know, even in Arizona pre-COVID, there were concerns about the rising cases of measles in Arizona and the decrease of our children getting vaccinated for measles. I am a proponent of kids getting vaccinated so that they don't become ill, so they're not hospitalized, to protect our youngest and most vulnerable.
Meanwhile, ABC 15 data analyst Garrett Archer says the area that makes up the Phoenix Union School District has seen a steady decrease in the number of COVID cases. However, it still remains in the red.
Maricopa County Health Department is reporting 1,611 cases this week in total for the Phoenix Union area. This does represent a small decrease from the week before. And in fact, that district has had 6 consecutive weeks of decreasing COVID-19 cases.
The district says they'll announce what other programs will require vaccines soon. Patrick Hayes, ABC 15. Arizona.
Dozens of Massachusetts state troopers handing in their badges over the state's vaccine mandate set to kick in on October 17th. With law enforcement already critically understaffed nationwide, is this putting the public in even more danger? Mike Shervin is the president of the State Police Association of Massachusetts and a 25-year veteran of the force, and he joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sergeant. Why are you fed up?
Well, there just hasn't been time to properly roll this program out. We are in the middle of impact bargaining. The deadlines are here upon us, and we don't have the answers that our members need. Those that are seeking medical and religious exemptions have not been told if they're granted, will they be allowed a reasonable alternative to it, to wear a mask and weekly testing. And because of that, they're looking to other places for employment. And the municipal departments within the state of Massachusetts are offering these reasonable alternatives. So it's not an across-the-board mandate. It's only for the executive branch of Massachusetts, which is affecting my membership.
So state troopers are now taking jobs in municipalities where they just get tested and they have to wear masks, right?
That's correct. For the number that have, for whatever reason, not received their vaccination, they are choosing and they've submitted their letters of intent. They have not officially resigned, following the policy to notify the department within 30 days of their intent to leave.
How many state troopers are we talking about? What percentage?
I can't give you a percentage right now. We're still within that 30-day window, which was actually changed by the department to allow for 14 days. But I'm very comfortable in stating that it's dozens.
How do you feel about these mandates? I mean, you guys have been heroes and have done this successfully for the last 18 months.
This doesn't come down to the feelings for the mandate for us. This is about fair labor practices and making sure that our members that have been on the front lines can remain on the front lines, and years of experience doesn't walk out the door.
And you did file a lawsuit, and what did the judge say?
The judge denied the lawsuit. We were looking for an extension of the executive order to allow us to continue to impact bargaining.
Here's your governor. This is Charlie Baker.
I think it's critically important for those folks to get vaccinated, which is the reason why we made the decision to require everybody who works in the executive branch to get vaccinated. There have been some pretty significant retirements in the state police over the course of the past couple years. I think some of that is demography. We'll have to continue to work hard with our folks at the Mass State Police and our folks in the legislature to make sure we fund classes and that we recruit aggressively to refill the ranks.
What's your reaction?
Well, the unfortunate part there is, yes, years of
vaccine mandate put over 100 police officers at risk of losing their jobs. Well, now the city is reversing course and striking a deal. KPIX5's Andrea Borba got some answers from both sides.
Today, October 1st, was supposed to be the day that the city's vaccine mandate kicked in, meaning no shots, no job. Tonight, we got answers from the mayor and the president of the police union about the compromise that was struck in the last minute.
To give everyone the time they need to get information and to make good decisions.
92% of city employees are already fully vaccinated, but 8% remain without, including more than 100 San Jose police officers. Under the agreement, unvaccinated city employees and officers will get a week's suspension without pay, be required to get tested twice a week for COVID-19 on their own time and with their own money.
With this frequent battery of testing while the disciplinary process is happening, we hope that over time, more of our employees will continue to get vaccinated.
The deal was hammered out over days, and president of the San Jose Police Officers Union, Sean Pritchard, says while the union has encouraged vaccination, this deal reserves respect for individual choice.
I think we've really been able to strike a balance here with that, and at the same time of trying to maintain safety for our members as well as the community that we serve.
The sanctions will ratchet up from the week's suspension without pay, and there will be further sanctions if any employee fails to complete 2 COVID-19 tests a week. Now, this deal pushes termination for failing to get vaccinated back to the end of the year, at which point it can be fast-tracked. In San Jose, Andrea Borba.
In the East Bay, new security cameras are going up all around Chinatown and Oakland.
The cameras come in the wake of a number of crimes against the city's AAPI community members. Ground Force Zik Madoon shows us how many cameras will be installed.
We are showcasing our new security program.
New surveillance cameras, an additional layer of security in Oakland Chinatown, an area hard hit over the past year by criminals targeting members of the AAPI community. Chinatown Chamber of Commerce President Carl Chan says the surveillance cameras will serve as a deterrent for those wanting to commit crimes, as well as an investigative tool to help police identify suspects.
By implementing these cameras, we know that there are many people, they feel much safer.
Especially seniors who were often the targets of violent assaults during the robberies.
We had a lot of seniors from all the family association come down to Chinatown to shop for recreation, to gathering, to celebration. So this is very important to make it safe for them to come.
20 surveillance cameras were donated by San Mateo cloud-based video security service, Verkada Incorporated.
Our employees at Verkada were heartbroken watching the disturbing rise in hate and discrimination and violence directed at the AAPI community and wanted to fight back.
Oakland's Temple Sinai Reform Synagogue is also supporting Chinatown security efforts by funding the cost to install cameras at 10th Street and Webster, with a goal of adopting cameras being installed from Franklin to Harrison and 7th to 12th Streets.
And so we are committed to standing with the people in the Oakland Chinatown, and we hope that as folks see these cameras, folks who live and work in this community, that they hear the message that there's a community behind them, that we stand with them, that we care about them, and that we care about their safety.
Zik Madoon,
I want you to welcome the 15th Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of South Carolina.
Well, today was a historic day in Charleston as the first female bishop in the state of South Carolina was ordained. Elected in May, the Reverend Ruth Woodliff Stanley is now the 15th bishop and the first woman to serve in this role in over 230 years. As bishop, she will lead 31 churches affiliated in the eastern half.
A worker shortage continues to plague the hospitality industry in Utah. Fox 13's Eliana Sheriff found some businesses are now opting to close entirely on certain days to avoid even more burnout.
We'd like to hire
maybe 20,000. We'd settle for 5 or 6.
Jeff Ray is looking for fresh faces to join his crew cooking up some of the best smelling barbecue. While there's no shortage of customers, Jeff can't seem to find workers.
I work 7 days a week. Biggest problem is we just don't have enough people and nobody seems to be looking for a job.
This has been an issue throughout the pandemic for many industries, but for Jeff,
it has gotten worse, yeah. At least for us it has.
With high school kids back in school, they're hurting.
America has become somewhat home of the free and the brave and land of the lazy, I guess.
That's why Jeff is doing something he's never done before in 15 years of owning a business. They're now closed on Mondays. He says that was the only way to give people a day off.
Everybody was getting wore out, including me.
Here at Holy Smoke Barbecue, the owner, Jeff, has resorted to some humor of sorts to address the shorthandedness, including saying that the occasional foot massage will not be offered because they don't have a lot of staff. Unfortunately, finding people to work right now is not a laughing matter. While many hoped employees would return to work after the federal pandemic unemployment benefit of $300 ended in June, the help wanted signs remain.
I have friends in the business who are also in the same situation.
This customer tells me he's seen signs like these all over the place.
The whole experience of going out to eat has totally changed. I feel bad for them unless you've got family that can step in and help. I mean, yeah, what do you do?
We hope we can solve the problem rather quickly, but I don't have high hopes for that, actually.
Reporting in Layton, Eliana Sheriff, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Holy Smokes owner says while some restaurants are offering higher wages as an incentive, as a small business owner, he and many others are not in a position to do that. He says they're looking to hold a hiring fair for the first time. All people have to do is come in and there's a good chance they'll be hired.
Continue to get their COVID-19 shots. So too are animals now in some of our nation's largest zoos.
Corey Davis tonight sharing what goes into vaccinating wild animals.
An exciting time here at the Philadelphia Zoo. Employees are now able to finally start administering the vaccine to animals that are at a higher risk of catching COVID-19, beginning with a lot of the primates you see here, as well as many big cats here at the zoo. The process is already underway to vaccinate more than 100 animals against COVID-19 at the Philadelphia Zoo.
Gorillas, orangutans, smaller monkeys.
In addition to those primates, the meat-eating animals are also high on the list.
And then carnivores would be the big cats, our maned wolf, otters, bears.
Dr. Keith Henshaw, Director of Animal Health at the Philadelphia Zoo, says many of the animals are already accustomed to receiving annual vaccination shots.
This isn't really much different for them, but obviously it's a pretty exciting time for us. And we're not out of the woods by any means, but it is a step forward that we've been waiting for a long time.
Henshaw says the animal vaccine is administered in 2 doses. No reported cases here, like at other zoos across the country, but staff members are watching closely for symptoms.
And so respiratory disease, feeling really kind of crummy, and lack of appetite, lack of energy.
While symptoms are similar to what people can experience and even deadly at times, the vaccine for animals is not the same as what people are receiving. Henshaw says prevention must happen on all fronts.
We really don't want this virus replicating in animals or people. Every time it infects another person or an animal and multiplies, that's a chance for another variant to develop.
Just like with the vaccine for people, the animal team here at the zoo will be keeping a close watch on whether there's a potential need for booster shots in the future. Reporting here at the Philadelphia Zoo, Corey Davis.